Hello, everyone. Dr. Stillman here with Chris Sweeting from EMR-Tek. We've got a special deal for people who want to purchase EMR-Tek lights. Jim's going to drop the special discount code in the comments along with what the discount is. And Chris can tell us if he wants to. But we wanted to sit down and chat today about how amazing RedLight Therapy is. And also, I want to talk to people about misconceptions about red and infrared light and their therapeutic benefits, because I think this is something that it's very easy for people to get confused about. And yet, this is one of the most exciting therapeutic modalities that we have available to us today. And somehow we lost Chris. He's in like a third world country, I think. So we must have lost him due to connectivity issues. He also is running a little bit behind today because he crashed his motorcycle, unfortunately, and is dealing with road rash. But fortunately, I've got a backup plan, which is to talk to you all about red and infrared light therapy papers and some of the principles behind this that I was going to talk with Chris about, so that you all get an idea for how to actually use this, or frankly, how not to use it, because a lot of people need to be using this who are not, and a lot of people who are using it have absolutely no idea what they're doing. And either way, you're not really getting the best results. So let's jump into what it is and what it means for people. All right. So first paper here, photobiomodulation, underlying mechanisms and clinical applications. Any study with this many people on it means that you had a lot of people come together to actually come up with what they were going to talk about. And usually that means there's a lot of information in a very small paper sometimes. So the technical term for red and infrared light therapy is photobiomodulation. It is also sometimes called low-level laser therapy or low-level light therapy. And I want to explain why it's called this, or why I think it's called this, regardless of the actual history behind these names. So most of you think about therapeutics in terms of more equals better, as in you take more Tylenol and the pain goes away more, or the fever goes down more. You take more ibuprofen and the pain goes away more. You take more of this or that or the other drug, and it gives you more of this or that or the other feeling, whether it's cocaine or Tylenol or ibuprofen or testosterone or whatever. However, there are phenomena that are very unusual in nature, but extremely common. When I say they're unusual, I mean people don't notice them, that don't operate on this basic linear presupposition of how therapeutics are supposed to work, as in sometimes less can be more, and also things that are very similar are not necessarily the same. So what is photobiomodulation? It's using light to modulate biology. And the frequencies of light that have the strongest, I would say, therapeutic effect on life are red and infrared light. Chris is backstage. He's back. Chris, jump in. How are you?
I'm good, man. So I just had a motorcycle accident, but you're like, you're a big friend over here.
What was that? You broke up.
I said, you're a great friend to me, so I'm here. I just had a motorcycle accident, but I'm here.
How long ago did you have this motorcycle accident?
Like 45 minutes ago, dude. I think my ankle's broke.
You think your ankle's broken?
I know it's broke. Yeah, it's broke, dude. Yeah.
Wow. These lives, Dr. Stillman, are getting kind of raw and real. I feel like this is the part where I'm supposed to tell you, hey, man, you can reschedule. I can just talk about these papers right now. But I appreciate you, powering through. And I was just talking about how photobiomodulation, red and infrared light therapy, it's really about the right frequency and the right exposure length. And people get this wrong all the time. It's one of the reasons why, oftentimes people will say to me, hey, like, why do I have to spend all this money on a red infrared light? They're hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars. Or if you get like a bed to lay in, those, like the Novothor is like $100,000, right? And some of the other models I've seen, $20,000, $50,000 easily. But what they don't understand is that you can't just go to Tractor Supply or Rural King and pick up, I don't know if you have those in Canada, but they're like our country, livestock farming stores, right? And pick up a bunch of brooder lights and, throw them into like some clamp lights and turn them on and get the same result, because the frequency really, really matters. And this is where I talk to people about, the Nikola Tesla quote: if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. You obviously got really interested in this because of your own journey. What are your thoughts on energy, frequency, vibration, and the right frequency of red and infrared light?
I think it's like the fundamentals of, even before biology, right? Because I mean, yeah, at an atomic level, like you're really trying to understand the cell, and
energy and frequency. The way I look at it is they really, the signals your body is getting organize life. They determine what your body is going to do with the material that you have, whether that's cell proliferation or autophagy or mitophagy or changing energy generation within mitochondria. It all comes down to what signals the cell is getting. And some of that has to do with the actual effects of the red light on the structure of water, which is some of the papers I pulled up today.
Like, we can be honest, like, let's be honest with like everybody. Like, we don't really understand this, right? Like, it's very complicated, it's very new, and that's I really, and I don't want to lie to people. It's like I understand certain things about a very small thing about biology, and it's
Sure.
like red light interacts with the mitochondria, and it seems to enhance energy production.
Right.
And that it does is reduce inflammation. And so, essentially, the two things that are killing people, and maybe you will agree or maybe you won't agree, Leland, but essentially, mitochondrial dysfunction or energy failure is the first component. The second component is chronic inflammation. What I don't understand about is what I understand is it reduces acute inflammation, and it does this by modulating the soluble protein mediators, chemical messengers in the blood, like fractalkines, chemokines,
Cytokines. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Right. So, and I don't know how that applies to chronic inflammation.
Oh, no, it definitely has an effect on chronic inflammation. I just don't know to what degree people have really studied it for that.
Right.
Because the red light therapy literature came out of Andre Mester's original work, where he was trying to figure out how to, actually, I can't remember what he was originally studying. I think he was trying to study like the genesis of skin cancer. And what he found was that certain frequencies of light made hair grow faster. This is part of why it's not just sort of like an old wives' tale that your hair grows faster in the summer. There's actually something to that. You're getting this light on these hair follicles, and now they make these very fancy hats that you can put on your head, and you can get red infrared light on your head. But what I find ironic about this is that you could get this therapeutic benefit from spending a little bit more time outside, right? But it's also not as simple as just spending more time outside, because you do get red and infrared light from the sun. It can actually become much more complex depending on what you're trying to do. And particularly, there's a lot of new devices out there that can be used like in the mouth. They're doing a lot of red light therapy and oral surgery because it's so powerful at stimulating healing. And that's such a tender, difficult place to have pain and wounds. So we really have a strong reason to want to ameliorate that pain.
It's crazy, like for hair regrowth, like I was having a lot of hair regression. I was like 20 years old, and yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I used finasteride. I used minoxidil as well. Minoxidil absolutely terrible for me. I hated it. Still on.
We hear that from a lot of men, despite most doctors not realizing that these hair or these anti-balding drugs, we see here a lot of patients saying, I felt terrible, or I felt terrible after I took, some of these drugs that are supposed to prevent hair loss.
I've never heard it personally with minoxidil, but like my tried finasteride, and it like completely screwed up his completely. Like, this is like his biggest problem, and like he would not do it after 2 weeks. Like, no way, no
Yeah. No, I've heard that before. And so my advice to men is to either go bald gracefully or tune into, I mean, obviously I want them to get red and infrared light because I see such a value to it. And so people know one of Chris's lights is actually behind me right there. That's the Firestorm. I bought that 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago now. And I use this stuff every day in my practice, I would say. And the reason that, to go back to what Chris and I were talking about with terms of what are the benefits. So Chris was talking about acute inflammation. I was saying I see it benefiting people with chronic inflammation as well. And I started to recommend these lights to people and started to get some really intense reviews from people who lived in cold, dark places in particular and who couldn't just go outside and access the healing power of sunlight. But I want people to understand that, as I was saying before, it's not just, oh, you need red and infrared light. You can just go down to Tractor Supply and pick up a Brooder light and get red and infrared light from that. Or you can just buy a red headlamp or a red light bulb and get therapeutic frequencies of light from that. They're actually very, very specific frequencies of light that are coming out of these devices that are having these healing properties because it has to do with the exact frequency of the light.
It's not even that, Leland, but like to get the power of those frequencies from an incandescent bulb, like you'd burn your fucking hair off. Sorry, excuse me.
Keep talking.
You would burn your hair off, and that's what I made my light for. Essentially, like I was losing my hair. I was like 20 years old. Like it was a normal thing in my family, and you can see it a little bit here.
Yeah.
On finasteride, I tolerated it fairly well, but when I started doing the near infrared light, like my hair, like my girlfriend was giving me hair rubs, and it felt like she was having some results. I was getting some hair back, and essentially there's like 6 or 7 mechanisms in which it actually regrows hair, and one of them is reducing DHT, which is so DHT binds to the hair follicle, depletes the cell of oxygen and nutrients, and so it dies, it miniaturizes and dies, and I mean that's the essential theory that is behind hair loss. But there's more, like it stimulates the epidermal stem cells, shifts the dormant hair follicles called anagen phase hair follicles into telogen phase. So.
Chris, can you get closer to your mic? I think you're picking up kind of not so well.
Yeah, sure. So
thanks.
Where did we leave off here?
That's much better. You were talking about how it affected your hair regrowth.
So there's like 7 ways that it really affects it, and it's like it's theorized that it reduces scalp DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone. That's what so it reduces scalp DHT. If you want, and Leland, have you ever done this for like a client, like where you compound like a finasteride drug to apply to the scalp?
No.
Can you do that?
I've never heard of anyone doing that. No.
So apparently it's absorbed like non-systemically, and it's like amazing. Obviously, topically applied. I've had amazing results with finasteride. I use the red light, but in all honesty, like red light was, probably not the contributor to getting my hair back, and that's like a huge thing for me, And
so did the finasteride cause you to have hair regrowth?
Absolutely, and it stopped it 100%.
See, I ended up counseling men because here's the thing: I've had a small number of men have such problems with side effects from those drugs, and I'm not going to name any in particular, that I really don't want to prescribe them. But particularly because we get a lot of men who they come to us and they don't know about the benefits of red and infrared light, and they don't know about the benefits of things like going outside and earthing and eating this or that or the other thing, or we find some kind of problem with their diet, and they, we do all that stuff, and then a lot of their problems get better.
And I respect your channel, so like this is why I'm being super honest with like finasteride. The main reason that but I had my friends have serious issues with it, and I believe because of the way that finasteride works on DHT, that is why it works. I mean,
Yeah, I have
believe
no reason to question that. Yeah.
so. If it doesn't work for you, and you have to kind of try it or just risk it, but you can use red light.
I think this is the part where I say this is not medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. Ask your doctor before making any changes to your diet, lifestyle, or medication regimen.
That's very true. Oh, so red and near infrared light. There's 6 other ways, but it reduces scalp DHT. That's what it's theorized to do, because essentially the scientists don't know any other way that's doing this. That's my understanding.
Well, it
And
increases, I mean, because it increases your energy generation in cells, and that goes all the way back to Andre Mester's work in the 1960s, it will improve cellular function overall, which is, again, part of why I love it for any kind of chronic complaint, is that you're getting this very significant benefit potentially without any side effects. And honestly, if you don't do it, you're probably not going to get a reasonable amount of red and infrared light in your indoor environment. And that's one reason why I wanted to get my, this is called a Spectromaster. It's a photometer. And this device measures light in the environment. It's mostly used by photographers in order to figure out what's going on with their light environment. And I bought it so that I could test products like EMR-Tek's bulbs. And most people have no idea what their light environment's really like. So right now I'm sitting in an office. It's got one window. A lot of our houses here in Florida don't have great indoor light because the idiot architects think that artificial light is equivalent to sunlight, and they're crazy about energy efficiency, and they don't realize that making houses dark is actually really bad for people. So here in my office, if I'm just like pointing this thing up at the ceiling, I only get about 247 lux of light, which is not a lot of light. And to give people some like idea of how much light comes out of one of these lights, let me turn this on. There's 29,000 lux of light coming out of that light. And that's at 18 inches, maybe 2 feet. If I were to take this thing and put it closer, it might be more like 50,000 lux. And people don't know that when they go outside, they might be getting 50,000, 100,000, 150,000 lux of light, but they're getting it across the entire visible spectrum. And this is a very narrow peak, which is the next thing that I want to show people. You're not just getting red light from the sun, you're getting visible light. And that's why using specific frequencies of light can be incredibly powerful for healing. And if this thing will cooperate, I will get the readout of the spectral, but this thing, yeah, okay. If you look, and hopefully this is going to be, oh man, this is hard to see. So if you look at this readout, you'll see that there's a giant peak at a very specific wavelength. Can't remember what yours are. Are they 640 and 660 or 680?
30.
Say that again.
630, 670, 660, 30.
Yeah.
But that meter doesn't read near.
No, I know. That's the thing, is this does not tell me what the infrared output is, which is relevant. And like you were saying, if you were going to get equivalent doses of this light, using something like an incandescent bulb, it would burn you.
Sure, and thing, brain photobiomodulation, only 2 to 2%.
Can you come closer to the mic? You were cutting out a lot.
Yeah, if you want to use like the light on your head, only 2% or 50%.
Yeah, you're cutting out a lot.
We're good.
Yeah, that's much better.
So if you wanted to use it on like deep tissue, like your brain, for example, like only 2 to 3% of the photons penetrate your brain, and that's near infrared light.
Right.
Like 50% of these devices, like that's all they emit. So it's like 50% of the near infrared light.
Mm.
Right. So I mean, you really have to have a very powerful device. The thing that I love about Leland, and this is my own personal experience, and it's crazy. Leland, should I show them my vitiligo?
Sure.
Okay. So let's see if we can see it.
It's really not visible.
Do you see it?
Yeah, that's visible now. Most people not trained to see that wouldn't see
Yeah.
it. It's kind of grainy, but like there's a huge change in Chris's skin pigmentation. He's got some really pale skin down there.
Right. And so I had that all over my body.
Right.
When I was young. I couldn't repigment my hands and my feet. I still have it on my hand.
Yeah.
Sorry. Some on my thumb. That's normal. You can't repigment this. But I grew up with this. I got it when I was 3 years old, and I had like tanning booths in my room when I was 5 years old. And ultraviolet A. I don't know, Leland, are you familiar with like tar cream? That's all I remember.
Yeah. You've told me about it.
Tar cream. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, like they told me all the doctors, natural doctors, whatever. They told me to stay out of the sun. They said carry an umbrella and wear sunscreen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like right, like and the messed up part, Leland, the super messed up part is that when you apply sunscreen, and most of them contain titanium dioxide. If you expose titanium dioxide nanoparticles, which are in all sunscreens, to chlorine, which is in, by the way, your tap water, any water you expose, it, or just like a pool, it decoats the nanoparticle, and then that titanium dioxide reacts with your skin and creates hydrogen peroxide, which is what bleaches your hair. And that's the free radical. Is what's an easier way to explain to them? Like,
say that again. You cut out.
hydrogen peroxide is a free radical, and it's generated by your mitochondria, and it literally is the radical that people with my disease have too much in their skin.
Yeah, right. So you're saying that the sunscreen could trigger or make worse your condition, which is why you've seen a radical
100%.
improvement getting red infrared light, sunlight, and avoiding sunscreen, right?
Well, I mean, if I was to put on sunscreen, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm the one who figured this out, but through like studies, yeah, I mean, but I repigmented my skin.
No, I know, because you had this on a lot of surfaces of your body, right?
I had it all over my eyes, under my neck. People used to be like, "Oh, did you spill acid on yourself when I wanted to go skiing?"
How did you get from there into the red infrared light industry?
That's actually a really crazy question, and yeah. So obviously, I went through quite a bit of pain as a child, and a lot of experimentation, and I realized something happening with the ultraviolet light when I was applying it to my body, because it was getting super strong, like really strong, and I noticed something like steroids. Yeah,
it's really funny you mention that, because the first studies of ultraviolet light back in like the teens, 19 teens, that is, not the 2000 teens, they actually saw big improvements in athletic performance in athletes under UV light.
I feel like UV light is more like of a PAD than like red light. Like I've always thought that, and I've always told that. Like I'm always trying to like tell the truth. Is I feel like ultraviolet, like tanning boosts, like without the UVA, because UVA can damage skin. We can go into this stuff. This is what I like, But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the UVB. Essentially, I was like looking into studies that could testosterone via herbs, and I realized that light could increase testosterone significantly.
Yes.
Like way more significant than any herb. Like the best herb can best increase your testosterone by like 20% if you're super lucky. Okay. And the light studies show that it can increase up to 200%. Do I believe that? Absolutely not. I think it's probably more like 50 if you're lucky.
It's highly
But
individual.
that's huge. I have no idea.
Yeah. But I just mean it varies from person to person, I think, quite a lot. And I just was talking about my labs about an hour ago on a video where I talk about how my testosterone's fluctuated a lot in the last year. You know, one of the things I'd love to do is actually be very, very consistent with red and infrared light therapy for a period of time in that specific region of the body where testosterone is being produced, and then see if it actually changes my mean testosterone value. Because to my knowledge, no one's actually done that study. They study for the most part because it's very easy and accessible, and because it has an immediate therapeutic effect that's extremely valuable, the effects of red and infrared light on sperm and sperm motility. And that literature, I think, is obvious. I mean, it's so clear that red and infrared light improves sperm function. And because red and infrared light will penetrate a certain degree into skin, there's no question in my mind that it could be used therapeutically for that reason. On the other hand, you know, the sad thing about the fertility industry is they have no interest in or no incentive to help the public understand how to be more fertile. Their incentive is to provide the services that allow people to eventually get pregnant. I think we're going to see more red and infrared. Yeah. Sorry, what was that, Chris?
Yeah. No, it's the entire industry. That's why I respect you a lot. Like,
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened after that? I started like researching like red and near infrared light, and you know how it can improve my testosterone, and then I let it sit for a bit, and then I started having hair issues. Okay.
Yeah.
I made a light. I applied it to my head. It started working enough. And I started taking finasteride. I used that. Finasteride took over, just being honest. And it fixed my, but I did see benefits from that. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. I mean, I was at a point in my life where I just wanted to help people, and I felt like that would fulfill me, and that's the truth. And that's it. Yeah.
Good. On that note, we got to jump into the Q&A over on my Substack. But thanks everyone for watching. Again, Chris is doing a sale for us over at EMR-Tek. The links in the video description. The discount code is still 20 STILL20. How long is that good for, Chris?
I mean, 24 hours, but you know,
24
your
hours.
clients are good. Yeah.
What's that?
Your clients are good with me. I mean, this is not really about the money. Like,
I get it, man. Yeah.
you honestly don't care about that. So yeah, and neither do I. It's just about being good to you.
Thanks, man. It's about taking care of people. All right. On that note, take care, everyone. Have a great day. Don't forget to get outside.